okay, I'm not the only person that has this, and I can choose a different way. And it's okay. It's okay. Like that's like those two words. It's okay. It's just so powerful when you're like, no, it's okay to be who I am. Like, it's okay. You know, it sounds so fucking cheesy, but it's really the truth. I mean, it's really like, I believe, the key to getting out of your fucking shit.
Yeah. Welcome to the Conscious Leadership Podcast, where soulful entrepreneurship and holistic mind-body wellness meet to help you heal, discover your soul's purpose, and change the world. I'm your host, Gabby Ortega, entrepreneur, psychology expert, social media maven, and soulful leadership coach. And it's my mission to empower you into becoming the light leader you're meant to be. Each episode will be diving deep into topics that will help you gain personal mastery over your healing and mind-body wellness, while also giving you practical tips and tools to help you create, market, and scale a heart-centered business around your soul's purpose and life mission. Whether you're in the beginning of your self-awakening journey or a seasoned inner work god or goddess who's ready to step into their leadership as a soulpreneur, this is going to be your new favorite place to be. We know that you don't just want to feel happier and more fulfilled, but you want to deeply know yourself and powerfully step into your life's purpose while creating massive abundance around your mission. That's why I've created this podcast for you, the light leader of the next generation. Welcome home. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Conscious Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Gabby. I am so excited that you're here. And of course, I had to bring back one of my best friends in the whole world, Sam Altieri, because she's just like literally my other half. And I have just the best conversations with her, and we share a birthday and all that. Do we share a birthday? Or is it the day after?
We're like 24 hours apart.
Like 24 hours apart.
Not even.
Like, it's like, it feels like the same.
We're basically the same. Yeah.
We're basically the same. Anyway, so for you guys who haven't heard her other episode, why don't you just like introduce yourself again and let us know who you are and all that good stuff, because we are going to tell you guys about some juicy shit. We are going into some personal stuff today, and it's not just like the normal leadership kinds of conversations we have. We're really going to be talking about our plant medicine journeys, which I know you guys have been dying to hear about, and I was actually really scared to do this alone. So thank you, Sam, for joining me and talking about your experience with me and all the things. Yeah. So take it away.
Yes. Well, thanks, dude. I'm so stoked to be here. Obviously, I love you. And like you've already said, you feel like my other half, and like we were sisters, just, you know, we came out of different vaginas, but that's okay. But anyways, so yeah, my name is Sam Altieri. I am a psychology-based health coach, and my passion lies in empowering high-achieving women to lose excess weight and heal their relationship with food without coming from a place of restriction, dieting, self-hating, self-loathing, or any of the negative shit we tell ourselves. And I fucking love what I do. I love helping women heal, because when women are healed, they can show up fully in their lives, in their relationships, their bank account's booming, their life is thriving. And that's how I am. I know that's how Gabby is now after working through our shit. And I love what I do.
Yes, I love that. And I love how you mentioned it also affects the bank account. And this is a conversation that I've been having actually this week with a couple of people. I hooked up with David Meltzer for a live, and he is just an incredible human being, owns this big old company, has gone through his own trauma, and really is like one of those conscious entrepreneurs that you want to meet. And and we were talking about how, like, when you're healing, when you're dealing with your own shit, your bank account grows, because when you heal, you call in healthy abundance. And it's just like I've experienced it. I've seen like dozens now of my coaches who've gone through my program experience it, and I know you have. So it is, you guys, if there's like one awesome reason to heal, it's like you make more money and it feels more aligned.
Yeah. And it's
not that we're going to talk about that, but you know,
like it just feels easy because you don't have to try to be someone you're not. You don't have to prove yourself. Like, you're just literally so in your own, like, you're like, you love who you are, and you are who you are. Like, you accept all the parts that maybe you haven't wanted to accept. And I think that's the, like, the most healing thing ever is like not trying so hard. You're just like, no, this is me, bitches. Like, I got a lot of energy. I'm impulsive as fuck. And
It's so liberating.
yeah, it is. It's just like, it's less energy you're putting towards trying to look a certain way or be a certain thing. You could put that energy towards building a business or making money or having good sex.
Oh my God, yes. I think I like for a long time put so much of my energy into reliving things that were not making me happy and being in those cycles because it fed then the truth that I didn't have to do anything about it. And then the minute I just like stepped outside of that bubble, I was like, oh shit, I can do a lot more other things. I just have to kind of take care of this first. And it is way better on the other side. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know about you, Gab, but I didn't know that it was possible to like be on the other side. Like, I think I
Yeah.
thought that sabotage, especially, like, I thought that that was just like something everyone went through. And like, yes, everyone goes through it, but I didn't know that there was a way to not be in that. Like, I thought everyone, like, there was no hope for me, like I didn't have that hope. Then I had a little bit of hope. And then I started to see people talked about being healed in quotes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck does that even mean? Because it
I
felt
used
so
to make
far
fun of those
away.
people so much. I was like, look at these assholes.
Yes, I was like, you pretentious dick, don't tell me you're healed. My ego
Now,
was like
now I
so
am one of
triggered.
those. Oh my God.
Now I'm like, no, like, come to the good side, like, you can heal
Yeah.
this shit. You
It
just gotta
really
go
is a
through the
thing, you
messy.
guys. It's a whole thing. It's a whole
Yep.
thing.
Yep. Oh my God. Well, I'm excited to dig into our experiences. Let's just say.
I know. So, like, when I hear about things like Akashic records, Reiki, chakra healing, when I first like heard that stuff, like I'm from New Jersey, like, I think if I was still on the East Coast in that place, I probably would have just like never even found anything like that and never been open
Mhm.
to anything like that. In California and being in Los Angeles for the last 11 years and plus, you can't avoid it. And so at some point you get curious because you see all these people around you. And that was at least it for me. They were just like, have you ever
Yeah.
done a mushroom journey? And I was like, what the fuck is a mushroom journey? One time in high school, my boyfriend did mushrooms with his friends and he had to call me to come pick them all up because they were crying in the park. They all like were crying and having a meltdown. And that's the only experience I've ever had, like tangentially with medicinal mushrooms or any kind of psychedelics.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought of. And I was like, oh, but a mushroom journey. Ooh, that sounds interesting. And like, then I started listening to, I don't know if you know her, Jordan Younger and the Balanced Blonde podcast. And she does so much amazing alternative medicine stuff, explores it for her own healing. And I was like, wow, there's something interesting here. And
Yeah.
as someone who is, has a psychology background, and is studying and researching trauma recovery and kind of putting together my own healing modalities, like, I am open to it. So psychedelics, spiritual stuff, like, exploring all the different facets of what could really be, because we don't really know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it piqued my interest. And so I actually, somebody I know linked me up with someone first for an Akashic Records reading before I even dove into anything with plant medicine. And that was my first, I think, real jump into the unknown and kind of going with something that just felt really new and strange and scary and weird. And I was like open, and it totally transformed me, the way I see myself, what I'm here doing. And it was probably one of the most empowering experiences I've ever had. I don't know. I know you actually got your Akashic Records read by the same person. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit maybe first about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should do that. And I think to frame all of this too, I grew up Catholic, and I remember like my mom was just always like, don't do drugs, don't have sex, and like God's gonna get mad at you if you sin, right? Like, and that's adorable. And I like love my mom, and she still probably thinks that, but like as I grew older, I had curiosity around all of these things, plant medicine, different modalities, whatever. And I definitely fell away from like my religious upbringing, especially throughout college and after college. But it wasn't until probably the past like year or maybe a little bit longer, that I kind of refound spirituality. And I was like, oh my God, like there's a difference between being spiritual and being religious. And I thought they were the same thing. And for me, like religion was very like rigid, and like you had to be part of this certain club and you couldn't think these things, and they forced their beliefs on you. And I like was not down with that. But when I understood that spirituality is so many things, and it's not, doesn't look like a certain thing, and it doesn't have a certain set of like, it's so open, I was like, oh, okay. And that really like allowed me to kind of open up my heart to what is possible. And it was the first time that I had even given thought to doing any sort of plant medicine, healing ceremony. I used to think all that shit was like fake, messed up, people steal your
Yeah.
money. And I thought drugs were bad. Like I was like,
Yeah.
and like, yes, there are some drugs that I will never do and I don't suggest. And like, from friends having experiences or friends of friends or whatever, but there are certain things that are, I believe, are safe and have helped me so much in such a short amount of time in my healing journey, in starting to love myself, and healing my eating disorder, my body dysmorphia, like so many things that now I'm like, yes, like give me more. Britney
It's really
Spears said it
hard.
right.
Yeah. Yes, Britney Spears, take it away. No, it's really hard. Like I wanted to really not like it. I wanted, in many ways, like as a scientist, I wanted to be able to say, "Oh yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit,"
Yeah.
and I can't. So I think once you like experience it, you're like, wow, there's a reason they're doing actual research around these different like substances. There's a reason why there's rituals and there's shamans and there's different ways to incorporate them into your healing journey in a very intentional and very specific way that's actually going to change the fucking game. Of
Yes.
course, Sam and I have had very, deep and positive experiences. I'm in no way encouraging everybody to go run out and take mushrooms or to like do drugs or like to like go run and do ayahuasca. I truly believe, and this is my experience too, when you feel called to plant medicine, when you feel called in your soul to explore your spirituality, and this usually happens during a spiritual awakening, or for me, a really severe mental health crisis. I think for you, your relationship with your body and food and struggling with that and trauma from your own past, I think that's when we are open to it. So this is not a PSA for everyone to go do drugs. This is
Yeah,
really
definitely not.
our
Please don't.
experiences, yeah, and how we like to intentionally incorporate this into our healing journeys, given all of the background information we have and where we are. And like, we both feel very called to this. So until you guys feel called by Mama Ayahuasca or, the mushroom, I've been offered, psilocybin, I don't know how to say the whole thing formally, but mushrooms like, before, but never, ever, ever felt called to it until now. So just be really, really tuned into yourself and what you're ready for, because this will open up doors for you. It will change things for you. And it might be a little bit, I don't know what your experience will be like, might be a little bit scary, might be a little bit painful, but it could also be joyous. And my experience was just pure joy. So, it can be really, 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 really great. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So with that, I felt like I should just set that tone as well
Yeah.
to be
No,
responsible.
thank you for saying that. No, I think, and it's like, you guys just like do like, if you are going to go about and do this, have it come from an intentional place and have it be in a really safe space with a limited amount of people that you trust, like a small group, a really intimate group, because you don't know. And so like the first time I ever did anything, I wasn't scared. I felt really safe because of the person or the people that I was with. But I wouldn't have felt safe if I wasn't with that person that I trusted. So just make sure that when you are moving forward with this, you do it and you actually feel safe in your body. You don't feel anxious, you don't feel stressed out, you're not freaking out. If that's the case, like maybe save it for a time where you are more grounded, or you're feeling more safety in your actual like physical body.
Yeah, that's really, really, really important, especially if you want to set the tone for the kind of journey you want to take. Sometimes we're in the mood where we want to get into the dark, deep, dirty depths of the soul. But then, like other days, we just want to laugh and we're like, I need something different. So, definitely pay attention to where you are. And then, something that I have been reading more up on and kind of from my experience was curious about. I love not the idea, but the practice of setting your circle and opening up this space energetically for support and guidance from your guides, your angels, your ancestors, God, spirit, soul, source, whoever is here for you, and really inviting all of those entities and energies that are there not to serve your highest good, not to serve your healing, inviting them out the fucking door. Goodbye. And, setting, I like burning some white sage. That's super powerful. That's like one of the most powerful cleansing smokes that there are. So just also FYI, I was told not to use this too regularly. If you're smudging every single day, you're also throwing out the good with the bad. It's that powerful. So you're really clearing your space. So that's something you should really only do once a week. Palo Santo is much gentler. But for something like this, a journey, definitely blast the space with all the white light and good energy. So then maybe we should just talk about the journey first, and then we can go into the readings after.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we did that together. We did, and that was so special.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. And I think like that was my first time doing mushrooms, and I didn't know what to expect. And I have done it one more time since our first time. And those two experiences for me were so different.
Really?
Like,
oh my God, I'm so interested to hear.
Opposite.
Really? Was your second time darker?
No, it was like it was fucking hilarious, expansive, like yeah, like I'll share about the second one, but I feel like we should talk about the first one that we had together, and then I'll share what happened in the second one, because it's fucking hilarious.
I'm so excited to hear about this.
Yes.
Okay, so a little background information. We're both in the same mastermind last year, and our coach arranged like a kind of COVID safe, like short retreat for us in Los Angeles. And at that point, she had brought her shaman that she works with, her plant medicine, and she was like, okay, we're going to do a mushroom journey. And I had never done it before either, actually. So both of us were kind of like, do we want to? Is this like the right time? Are we feeling called? I think I definitely felt, it's different. I didn't feel anxious. I felt excited because I was like, I know I'm ready, but I'm also like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Totally.
How did you feel? Like we did a little circle beforehand where we did a Q&A, and people kind of just voiced their fears, and, I don't know, how did that feel for you? And what were you thinking?
It kind of was like, it's almost like when you're in high school and someone's like, here, like, try this drink, or like this whatever. And you're like, and then you're like, but I want to be cool, so like I should do this. And then your other voice is like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Like for me, there was this like really quiet voice. It's like, don't do it. And then like the loud voice was, Sam, like, you're in a safe space. You're with people you trust, and this is something that you've been curious about for quite some time. And I do feel ready. I feel like I can trust myself. And I think that was like a huge part, was like, no, I'm good. Like, no matter what, it doesn't matter if it goes bad or not. Like, I'm good. I will be fine. I'm not going to die. Like, I will be okay. And I just went into it very like matter of factly. Like, I wouldn't say I was excited. I just felt like I was like settled, like kind of open and ready to just do whatever happened.
Yeah, I love that. And it was funny when it started to take action, like you just like the grounding that happened with you was like crazy. So Sam, you watch Sam's, like if you see Sam's IG, she's dancing, she's running around, she's like like not all over the place, but she has a lot of energy. She's like always doing stuff. I mean, we're both all over the place, for sure. But that's what makes it special, I think. Yeah. But she's running around, and all of a sudden, I'm not even kidding you. I felt like I saw a lightning rod dad go from like the sky and the heavens through her spine and into the ground. And she had like, she was grounded like a motherfucking tree. And I was like, whoa. And it was it was crazy to watch that.
Yeah, dude, it felt like so before that moment, I had never consistently meditated. I had never really known what it was like to drop into my body, like to that degree. And it actually felt like, so I think probably a lot of people maybe listening to this are what's called disembodied, which is like you're way in your head, you're anxious, you're stressed all the time. A lot of your energy is in your head. You're not in your body, which is like you can feel hunger, fullness, you can feel your intuition, you can feel your intuition telling you no or yes. Like your body has all the wisdom. Your head is a fucking shit show. So, but I was so used to living in my head. And I didn't understand like what being grounded meant, and what being grounded is being in your body, like like actually habitating your physical body, not being on autopilot, not just doing the day to day. And that moment, I was sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, it hit me like boom, like someone just had thrown me into the skin that I was in.
Oh my God, I freaking love that.
It felt like I got sucked into a vacuum. Like, and I plopped on the seat and I felt like I weighed 1,000 pounds. It was so weird. Like I felt my weight on the chair beneath me for the first time, like ever. I had never felt that sensation of being one, but being in my actual body. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I remember just looking around and looking at Gabby, like,
you looked so concerned, questioning. You were like, what?
I was, because you know what's crazy is earlier, like maybe an hour earlier, I had like a craving for something. I forget. Like, I think we had just eaten and I was like, ooh, like I want something sweet or like whatever. As soon as it hit me, I was grounded. I had no cravings. I had no appetite. I was so just like present. And I realized when a craving came up or hunger or whatever, I could literally just be like, it's okay. I'll catch you later. Like it was the first time I was able to separate myself from those things.
That's like a huge, profound thing to have happen.
Yeah, that's probably why I was looking like I was. So
you
silent.
look like you had just been given the answers to the book of life. Like, I don't know. It looked like you had just like you figured out, you cracked some code. And I was like, what code did she just crack? It was amazing. No, it was really cool. And it was really cool to watch because like, I don't know. It was just a totally different energetic field that you were carrying. And it's like, it was tangible. Like it wasn't just something that you're like, oh, you're sitting still. It was like, oh, there's like a gravitas to this. There's something like rooting her in the ground or in the earth. And it was cool.
It definitely was a cool experience. And I remember you were sitting right next to me and all I kept thinking about was, this is so fucking weird now that I know what your Akashic record says, but Gabby is the entertainer of like the next decade. I was just like, this bitch is about to be like the Cuban Oprah. Like,
oh my God, I would be honored. I would be honored.
I think that was also part of it. Like, I was literally looking at you like, or like just being in your energy, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful she's my best friend because she is going to be doing massive fucking things. And I don't even know how I got to be her friend, but I'm so happy. And oh my God, I just kept like, I was just so admiring you without saying anything.
I love you. And I was thinking the same thing, honestly, about you. And then Melissa, our other friend, just like left us. So she just kind of, we didn't get any time with her, but we had a love fest. And that was, it was great. So when I was sitting on the couch and just kind of allowing things to settle, I think the first thing was just like, I felt like I was expecting acid. And I told my friends and my fiance and like, I didn't tell my mom that I was doing it. I just, obviously. But I told him, I was like, I think that I'm going to see things. I think I'm going to like go into different dimensions. And like, that was not wrong drug.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was, but good because I don't know if I could have handled that intense of a thing.
Yeah.
But what I started to feel was, oh my God. And I'm even thinking about it now, it makes me want to like fucking laugh and cry at the same time. I just felt like this, when you have a secret, when you have a
Yes.
secret that's like so good that like everybody needs to know and you know it and you're the only one who knows it. And it's like a joyous secret. It's not a bad secret like gossip, but it's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this person's going to propose, or like, oh my God, this person's going to win $1 million. Like, oh my God, this person,
Yeah.
whatever. I felt like that. And then all of a sudden I just could not stop laughing. Like, and then I was like embarrassed about it because I'm like, nobody's talking to me. Like I'm
Yeah.
sitting by myself in the corner of the couch. And I feel this like fiery kind of feeling in my belly of just like this, oh my God, this is so fucking funny. And I don't know where it came from. And all of a sudden I think Amanda like looked over at me and then she goes, like, are you okay? And I just like burst out laughing so hard. I started crying, like laughing, crying, and I could not catch my breath for like a solid 10 minutes. And I don't think I've laughed or felt that much joy in that kind of capacity. Like, my God, since I was like little.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
you just like dying. And I was like, I wanted to be on your level, but I was so serious and like stoic that like my laugh
You were
was
on a
like,
mission.
ha ha ha. And then I would just like get silent.
You were doing all of your work internally. So Sam was sitting like next to me, but like her eyes looked like she was like, but it was
Yeah.
all there was all like stuff going on inside of her. And I was like, there is something happening. It was amazing.
Yeah. It was a really like, and that really was like what happened for what was it, like 4 or 5 hours? Like
Yeah,
we just
it
felt
was
like,
yeah. We had
and
like revelations. I think you got a lot of downloads. You may not remember like some of them, but like I remember you just saying, "Oh my God, this is like what has to happen for the world to be a better place. This is what happens. Oh my God, my relationship with my eating disorder and my body has nothing to do with food."
Mhm.
And you put
Yeah.
together the kind of psychology and you were like, oh my God, this is like actually from this. And like, you made these connections for yourself and you're like, this is the key to everything.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it really was. And it like I remember waking up the next morning too, feeling like I just got hit by a car. Like it felt like, and I think now that I know more about like energy, I really do think that like in those moments, you are like releasing so much or like having so many downloads, like that's energetically really taxing for your body to like go through that. So it kind of makes sense, I think, or maybe I'm just like putting shit together and making it up. But the next morning I felt like
Yeah.
I had a hangover.
Yeah.
And I was like, my body felt tired. Like I wasn't really tired, but my body felt tired. And I'm like, huh, that's pretty interesting. Like I wonder if it's just from me like really like deepening into all of those things and having these kind of like breakthroughs or realizations about myself or food or body or all of these things. And I'm like, whoa, like
Yeah.
mind blown emoji.
You've never been the same. Like you've
No.
been so much more grounded
Yeah.
and in your body since like it's visible.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. And it's like, it's almost hard for like I can help people embody, but I'm like the fastest way to get there is plant medicine 100%. Like
Yeah.
if you feel safe
It's
enough,
fast.
fucking do it. It's like it was like I snapped my fingers. I got out of my anxious, stressed fight or flight and I was like I'm safe. I'm home. I'm in it. Like it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that must have felt like just so healing for
Oh,
you.
totally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think like I've lost weight since then. Like that was early December. That was like right after I got engaged actually. And my trip to Utah. And so over the past it's been like 2 months since then. Yeah, like my body has literally just naturally let go of weight. Like old
You know
patterns
what's
that weren't
really
serving me.
interesting?
Yeah.
Same.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that. And that's really interesting that you brought that up. Yeah, because I tend to use food as comfort. And like, even though I'm enjoying foods that I like, I'm not holding holding it the same way. I'm not eating as much. I'm not, I don't feel as driven.
Yeah.
But also I think my body, the levels of stress, the cortisol levels are so much lower that
Yeah.
I'm just not holding on to as much.
Yeah. And I think too, like, this is what I teach in my course, but it's like when your body feels safe and when you feel safe to be who you are and to be in your current body, however much body fat it has on it, it can release excess weight. When it feels like it's unsafe to be however much you weigh, or it feels unsafe to be the qualities you don't like about yourself, or it feels unsafe to be anything that you are, your body literally holds onto weight to protect you, right? Or maybe it's protecting you from emotional shit or sexual trauma or like all of that. So it's like,
Yeah.
plant
Yeah.
medicine is a way to heal and release that so that your body can feel safe again.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. And that rings so true for me. And that feels really right the way that you're
Mhm.
saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I felt too very energetically drained. I think also because I felt like I went through such an emotional experience. Like
Yeah.
from my own healing, I feel like what came up for me, like reflecting and integrating, through the next week after was I don't think I've ever allowed myself to be fully seen in that way by a group of what I consider the popular people.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
best friends. Like, I love Melissa. We're so close. Like, this group that we had in the mastermind. I mean, we're all talking like high 6, 7 level, 7 figure entrepreneurs, high level, like, healers and practitioners and people and business people and people like I really admire, And
Yeah.
so I was like, wow, I feel like this group is like the popular group. And like I was invited to share about a lot of these things that as a kid made me really disliked. Like, oh, like I talked about kind of these things that happened when I was bullied, but not in a sad way. Like for some reason I was able to see them with so much joy, like this kind of
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I can't believe like this was not this. I can't believe I thought this was so horrific. I mean, it felt horrific at the
Yeah.
time, but almost
Right.
like felt like I was embodying my highest self in that moment and looking down and back at my past and being like, it's okay to also like find humor and heal through humor and laugh at yourself a little bit because
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yes, you were traumatized by these things, but like, can we also find something funny about it? And these were not the most heavy traumas I experienced, but difficult experiences I had that as a child were very, very, upsetting. But as an adult, I can look back on now, like the time my mom forced me to go to sleepaway camp in the woods. And like, I literally threw up every day for 2 weeks, cried every single day. We were so codependent, my mom and I
Oh
thought
my
like
God.
my life was over. And I told the story like in this group and like I think you were
Yeah.
doing your inner work. But you were sitting right next to me, but I don't know where you were. But
Yep.
I
Not
basically
there.
I basically was like sharing and everybody was laughing and I felt so seen and so loved and they're like, oh, little Gabby was so cute, she's so great, like blah blah blah. And little Gabby inside of me like really fucking needed to hear that and really needed to be seen and really needed to be goofy and weird and like different and still be received. And that happened. And I think that's the first time I've ever felt fully and completely received and open and vulnerable with that part of myself, my child self with other women, like ever, like since
Yes.
childhood. Yeah.
Yes. You know what's crazy is as you were saying that, and just as you kind of wrapped up, I felt the same way, but on the serious side. Like, because
Mm.
I don't show that side to many people, except when I'm like in deep work, like coaching work, like healing work. But like front facing, in friendship face, like everything facing, I am like a genuinely happy person. Like, I am so grateful for the life I have. Like, I really do have a lot of happiness, but I also have this like really deep sadness and like solitude, and there's no
Yeah.
anger. It's almost like this it's like this grieving
Mm.
and this like longing to be sad that I don't share because I don't know how to express it to the public
Mm.
yet. But when we were on that first mushroom experience, I had that in a public setting. That was the first time I had ever done that. Like, I've done that with Kurt, but I've never really done that with anyone else except by myself in my room alone. And I realized like that's actually a huge part of me. And that's where I tend to avoid pain and sadness at all costs because I don't want to be in pain. But that's where all of the magic and inspiration and healing and all the depth and like foundation of all of the work I'm now doing has come from is like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
deepest, darkest, most alone, most shameful moments, whether it's like with food or looking at myself in the mirror or like being alone or writing in my journal, like especially listening to like female artists that are talking about how much pain they're in.
Mm,
Like there was part of me that just really like related to them, but I was like, my life is fine. Like, why am I so sad? Like, why am I having these feelings? And I was like, I have so much to be grateful for. Like, Sam, shut up. Like, stop being such a baby. Like, that's how I would talk to myself.
mm,
And I realized like that was just me not actually fully processing like everything that happened to me in the past, right? Like
yeah.
all of the times I thought I wasn't good enough, or all the times I compared, or all the things and the crap I told myself and like or other people told me. And I'm like, oh my God, it's just that little, like, it totally is the little inner Sam, like little Sammy. She was just so sad. She was like so broken and just wanted to have so much love. She wanted to be held. She wanted to be told she was doing enough. Like, and I never got that. Like, and that's all I wanted. I wanted someone to just fucking hug me and squeeze me and like tell me I was going to be okay. And I think after our experience, I just started doing that for myself. Like, I
Yeah.
started really not just like doing the work, but like really treating myself like reparenting myself. You know, like really doing that reparenting work and thinking about my body as my inner child in a weird way. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like she was sad. And there's still moments like all the time actually where I will just like cry and it's like
Yeah,
something comes
same.
up and releases and I let it happen now. I don't push it down anymore because that's why I used food to like push down those moments of sadness because I didn't want to experience it.
Oh, I love you. And I can relate so much, and that's what I use alcohol for, you know? And now like I literally was like, what am I gonna do without my crutch? Like it was the scariest thing to let go of, you know, or to step away from, or to even face and say I'm using this as a crutch.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, yeah, this kind of understanding that you can give yourself all of that stuff and that being sad is normal and crying is releasing. Like our bodies have certain functions. Like, do you hold your poop in?
Sometimes.
I mean, don't. I mean, like, don't, but like,
When I'm constipated, Gabby.
well, I mean, I feel like that should be
Yeah.
another episode. We should
Yeah.
go all into that.
We'll talk about it.
You know, we'll talk about it.
But no,
No,
I
I
get your
mean,
point. I get your point.
the idea is just like, yeah, like, you know, it's like, don't let, if you see a baby, like a baby cries whenever it feels like crying, and it doesn't need to be like, I need to cry because I'm processing. Like it just cries and we don't question it. And that's because like, it doesn't have the life experience, the shaming, the belief
Yeah.
systems, the conscious awareness, and whatever they've gone through to feel like they can't do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like releasing and just tuning into your body and like letting it flow. I love that so much. And I feel like we forget about that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, because like society, like they just paint this picture of like happiness, right? That's the normal. And it's like happiness is not the fucking normal. Like the goal
No.
for your life should not to be happy. The goal for your life should be to be present and to do more things that make you feel good so that you are happier. But like if you're
Yeah.
happy all the time, you're a fucking liar. Like do not even go
Yeah.
there. Like that's not real life. And it would
Yeah.
actually suck, I think, if you were always happy. Like if imagine
Then
like
it
if I
wouldn't feel
was
like anything.
yeah, and when you see somebody else that's always happy, don't you get annoyed at them?
I get so
Like
annoyed.
because you're like, what the fuck? Like can't something bad happen to you so you can fucking cry and be mad? Like that's how I feel because I'm like I have that part of me that like
Yeah.
is sad and like is ashamed and blah blah blah, you know, like all those things. I don't want to like look at someone and have them only be happy because it makes me feel bad about myself.
Yes, no, I 100% agree with you. 100%. And also I don't trust people because like, look, I'm a psychologist, like in
Yeah.
training, and I have my master's degree in clinical psychology. I know some things and I don't fucking trust that because I've been in the closed door room with people, and I know no matter how rich you are, how great your relationships are, how loved you are, how fucking whatever you are, you got problems.
Yep.
Everybody has moments. We're human beings. And I think we just need to emphasis on the being, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
less shame around the messy. Like, I mean, that's my whole like mission really, and my podcast is like
Yeah.
be more real. Like, show the messy, uncomfortable side that you've been hiding because that's the thing that's keeping you in your shit. And I think
Hmm.
the mushrooms helped me even more so take the things I didn't like about myself or the beliefs or all the things and really just like look at them for what they were and be like, okay, I'm not the only person that has this, and I can
Yeah.
choose a different way. And it's okay. It's okay. Like like those two words. It's okay. It's just so powerful when you're like, no, it's okay to be who I am. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds so
Yeah.
fucking cheesy, but it's really the truth. I mean, it's really like I believe the key to getting out of your fucking shit.
Yeah. Seriously, seriously. I could not have put it better. Yeah, it's getting out of your own shit for sure. And I think like the funny thing is that plant medicine and specifically psychedelic medicine gets you out of your own way, gets your conscious and ego, your conscious
Oh
mind out
yeah.
of its own way so you can really communicate with your soul, your deepest part of yourself. Because guys, like at the end of the day, I think we get fooled into thinking we have all this time here and we don't. You
Mm,
are like time is the one thing you can't get back. You can get
yeah.
money back, you can get other things back, but you can't get like, time and life. And
Mhm.
so like I encourage you guys, if you are spending any part of your day hating yourself or doubting yourself or sitting in the stew of like not feeling like you're enough, only you can do the things that you need to do to get into a different place,
Mhm.
and I encourage you to just go for it, because the minute that you commit to like journeying in whatever way you want to learn how to love yourself more and heal yourself, the faster you're going to be able to just break free of the matrix and live your damn life and be happy.
Feel
Or
like a
not all the
fucking
time, but
queen.
yeah, feel like a queen.
Yes. Yes. And quickly, like I don't want to talk about this too much because I know we want to talk about the Akashic record, but my
Yeah.
second trip was with Kurt. It was just him and I. And the craziest thing was like or I should say it wasn't with Kurt, but like he was with me. I was like doing my own thing. It was literally just like me on shrooms and he was like hanging out with me. And I'm like, which was
I
hilarious
love you.
for him to
I thought he
observe.
did it with you.
No, for him to observe me, like, oh boy. So the main thing that happened with my second trip was that we went to the ocean. And I did this on New Year's Eve. So I jumped into the ocean, which was
Oh.
like, it was fucking awesome and very cold, but it was like the most orgasmic experience besides having an actual orgasm. And when we got back to our apartment, I needed to take a hot shower because I was like fucking freezing. My skin was like purple, and I think it was like 30 degrees outside. Dude, I took an hour-long shower and I recorded, or what I thought I was recording. I thought I was recording a podcast, right? I came up with the new name of my podcast, Be More Real in the Shower. I recorded a 45-minute episode and Kurt was in the kitchen cooking. He put his phone outside of the door, recorded the episode, and I have a 45-minute video, audio, whatever clip of me going off
In
on
the shower?
in the shower, pretending like, okay, so
I
in my head,
fucking love you.
I was talking with my fist like a microphone, and in my head, I was speaking to thousands of people. So I was like, you guys, like, get out of your chairs, let's go, like, put your hands together, we're gonna pop you up. I was like Tony Robbinsing, like, super hard. And I gave them like 10 reasons why they need to stop playing small and be a fucking queen. And it was like, get out of your head, get out of your own way, like get into your body, like stop sabotaging yourself. You need to make a fucking plan, like blah blah blah. I was
Yes, all the downloads, all the downloads.
Oh my God. And I remember like every like 10 or so minutes, I was like, Kurt, Warren, you better be video recording this so when I'm not on shrooms, I can share this with the world. And he was just like, he didn't say anything. So I had no idea if he was doing it. And I was like, Kurt, Warren, you better be fucking recording this. And then I would like continue going. And then at the end, he told me, and I listened to it and I'm like, wow. Like I stepped into my power so hard in that shower.
I literally, like, first of all, I love that so much. It sounds like how I get my ideas too. Like, that would be something that would happen to me. And also, I love joking around with you too, because it's like the men in our lives, the things that they go through.
Oh my God.
Like what they put up with, because we're like, I need to have a session. I need to have a journey. I need to do my thing. I need to do this or that. They're like, okay, like they're so supportive of us. And I just shout out to Kurt and Devin.
Yep. You guys are the real MVPs. I always
You guys
say
are the real
like,
MVPs.
you sure you want to do this? Like, you real sure? Like, I'm a lot to handle. Like, are you sure? He's like, yep. I'm like, okay.
He's like, it works. It works.
Yep.
No, that's so cool. I had such a good, I had a really good experience. I think it was at the right time for me personally, which makes all the difference. The environment made all the difference. And I definitely want to do it again. So we'll be talking about that. But so then let's go into, I guess, a little bit, we don't have to go too deep into it, but the Akashic Records reading was really, really, really interesting. I did not know what to expect. That's all I can say.
I know. I didn't even know what the fuck an Akashic record was, first of all.
Yeah, let me give a little background, because I feel like that's probably so I've never heard of this either, and I may totally butcher this explanation. So if you are a spiritual healer or you are very familiar with this, I apologize in advance. I'm not as familiar on the whole background of it, but what I do know, what my practitioner told me, my reader told me, is that, if you believe in reincarnation and that the soul never dies and that we're made of energy and we go somewhere in some ether somewhere and then we choose to come back down here on earth, like it's part of that belief system. And it's this idea that, somewhere in the, other dimension, in some other sphere, it's a metaphysical space, there is a place where it's called the Akashic Records. And the idea is that your soul has a individual like book where your soul's journeys have been written down since the beginning of time. And that your soul has come back, you've chosen, it's not like it just like randomly gets thrown into a body, but that you consciously choose in between your life, different lives, you consciously choose where you want to be incarnated, what dimension, what planet, where you want to be, what kind of karmic contracts you're going to make, soul contracts you're going to make and break, and what you're there to do, and how fun, I just think that's such a fun, interesting way of thinking of the soul and life. And if you look at it, we're just like a tiny speck floating in the middle of a galaxy, like who knows? So then the idea is that you have a book and that there are certain practitioners who have very, very specific trainings with gurus and masters that have done this for, it's family lines of people who have been connected to the records, and you have to learn from one of those people. And so the idea is that with these practitioners, they can connect you with your records. They can look up what your soul's journeys have been. They can give you the information in the book. And they also connect with your guides, your angels, your ancestors, whoever wants to pop into the room at the time to give you some knowledge and wisdom. And so you can basically ask a question and go into it like, hey, I want to know more about this, past lives, or, I want to know more about like my karmic contracts or my soul contracts, or I want to know more about why this is happening to me in my life right now. I just honestly went into it, and I don't know about you, but I went into it just tell me what I need to know. And we had never had a conversation beforehand. I gave her very minimal information. I do have a pretty public, you know, I'm a pretty public figure, like not huge mega million people following me, but like I do know that I have lots and lots and lots of hundreds of thousands of people who know who I am. And all my stuff is out there, right, on the podcast. So it's very easily someone could listen and maybe interpret or just drop things that sound personal to me. She did none of that. And she communicated things with me that I never told anybody, never talked about publicly, things that I held very close to my chest that I was, honestly, I actually had to take the rest of the day off because I felt like I got hit by an energetic train.
Yeah.
In the best way possible, but like in a way I needed to fucking turn off my phone and I need to have a day by myself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, I felt the same way. And I think after you had your experience, or you had shared, Bren with me, like I had reached out. I had no idea what this was. And I didn't even Google what is an Akashic record. I just was like, this sounds cool. I don't know. And that was really how I approached it. Like, I have a really open mind and open heart to stuff like this. Like, I'm not a skeptic. Like, I will be skeptical after I do the thing, but I always am willing to try something. So, like, I've done stuff where I've been like, that's bullshit. No thanks. This was like, I had never, ever felt so seen before, ever. Like, someone reached into my soul and put language to how I was feeling, because I was really afraid to say what she told me, because I thought it would sound crazy, or I don't know, like, we can get into like what she said and whatever, but it was like, it gave me goosebumps. Like, I was like crying. Like, it was a very emotional experience because I had never been validated like that. You know, like I've in the past, I've been validated for things like my work, my body, all of that shit. This was like my soul was being validated, like why I'm on this earth. And I was like, and it, like, I have goosebumps right now saying it.
I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way.
I'm like, and it wasn't her, right? She's like a portal, right? So like the woman that did this for us, she doesn't have all the wisdom in her, right? She's literally a channel, and she's channeling shit from these guys, from whoever, and it's like it's coming through her, which is kind of crazy if you're like, this is too woo-woo for me. Just like imagine that, like, she's the principal and it's like coming through the PA system, right? It's like he's just like the speaker, but like the source is like the principal. And I'm like, I don't know if this is fucking true, and it's like kind of crazy, but I'm just gonna believe it. Like, I'm gonna choose to believe it. Like, some people may not, and that's fine. Like, you guys can believe this or not, but I believe it. And like that belief, having somebody say something that I've kind of believed, it helps me believe in myself more and pushes me like really fucking hard to go do the thing I was like, well, yeah, maybe I'll do that one day.
100,000,000%. Yes. I could not agree more.
Yeah. That belief, like, oh. So bless up for Bryn. I love her. I know.
I didn't want to shout her out. I'm not going to give you guys her last name just in case. I mean, if you want to DM me, I don't want to just like blow her up, but Bryn is her first name. She's amazing.
Yeah. My dad, like, I told him what happened and he was like, give me your number.
Give me your number. I passed her number along to so many people too.
Yeah. He booked a session. Like, we're probably going to do one every like three or 4 months. Cause I'm like, this is so helpful. It's so like affirming, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I mean, I have like pages and pages and pages of notes from my experience. It's funny because, you know, Sam and I shared about our experiences in detail to each other, and we both laugh because we're like, oh my God, if anybody were to listen to this, they'd think we're like narcissistic psychopaths. Because but that's why I think we're also very attracted to one another as friends, because we are very like big picture people, and the readings that we got about us, like, oh yeah, you chose to come down here at this time to heal the world. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, we kind of knew and we're here doing it, but to have somebody like kind of like affirm that and then affirm some other things, and it was like, I don't know, like, do I believe this? Is it okay to believe that I have this kind of power? Is it okay to believe that I can have this kind of influence? Like, is it okay to fully buy into everything that I've ever dreamed of having and being and doing? You know, and it's like, well, it's your choice. And I, like you, was like, I'm gonna just choose yes. I'm gonna choose to lean into this and take what works for me, and everything else can just, everything worked for me, but I like to say, for your experience, take what works and leave the rest. It all makes sense in time anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we like dig into our like respective
Yeah.
general like I mean
Yeah.
we could literally podcast for probably 2 hours on this, but I think just like
It's
general
11:11, by the way. Oh my gosh.
Of
See
course
what I
it
like,
is.
we were like, should we dive into this? And it's like, oh yeah, we should dive into it. Confirmation. Okay, so you go first. Tell me about yours.
Okay. So I think the first thing, like, I just want to preface it with was the first thing that came out of her mouth was laughter. And it was laughter, and like, she's like, oh my gosh, your guides are, I don't know, like, whatever she calls them, but like, basically, whoever's watching over me, guides, spirit guides, they were so stoked that I was doing this. They're like, we've been waiting to talk to you. Like, I was like, oh, really? Have you? So they were like, basically, they told me that I have a lot of fucking energy. Obviously, you guys know that. But the reason why is because right now I'm serving at more of an individual level. Like I work with clients one-on-one. I have groups, but like groups no more than 30. Like I don't work at a massive scale. I obviously have a podcast. Instagram has, yes, like tens of thousands of people. But I haven't worked with like big groups and big audiences. And she's like, you have all of this energy because you need it. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. You're going to be serving on a mass scale, like carrying teachings from lifetimes, like reaching a really large amount of people. And you haven't seen anything yet for the magnitude of the accomplishments that you're going to have. And I was like, I feel that. Like, I'm like, yes, the business made 200,000 last year. And like, I was in the middle of a fucking messy ass spiritual awakening and healing a lot of shit, and like was not focused on building a business. And I'm like, oh my God, if I was going through shit and I made that much, not even being in a really good, like healthy place with myself, I'm like, we're making $1 million this year. Like, I literally
Hell
just
yeah.
decided, and I mean, I am like, we're on track to do that. And
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And she's like, so your crown chakra, which is like, the top chakra on your head. She's like, I don't know if she said I've never seen, but she's like, your crown chakra is so wide open that your actual physical body is vibrating. She's like, can you feel that? And I was like, holy fuck. Like I had never put language to it. I literally do. Like, obviously you can't see it through the camera, but like, my body feels like on a constant basis, like I'm just like really subtly vibrating. Like it's very strange, which is why I dance so much. I have to get it out, and if I don't exert the energy, what I used to do is eat, because I actually like needed to relax myself. I needed to get grounded, and I didn't know how, because I had a lot of energy. So she basically told me that it's going to be really important for me for the next decade at least to get super grounded, which makes sense as to why I had that first experience, and that I came here to do big things and be a teacher, a healer, and a messenger. And a lot of my teachings are going to come from relationship and relationship with myself and relationship with Kurt. And like, when she said that, I was just like, holy fuck. Like Kurt and I's relationship has been the most triggering thing. Also the most beautiful thing, but the most triggering thing for all of my wounds: rejection, abandonment, not good enough, boundaries, people pleasing, like literally everything. And she told me that I came here to be a master of the physical body. I am helping people master their physical body, releasing excess emotional weight. And that, like, she told me, like, she obviously doesn't know who I am at all. She's like, the things you need to do consistently: dance, massage and like nature. And I was like,
Stop it.
what the fuck? I have a massage in an hour, like after this podcast. I obviously
Yes.
dance every day.
Yeah.
I get into nature every morning. And it's like that's why I've been feeling like I've been called to do that. So she just told me like this next year from your birthday, November 26, 19, or not 19, 2020 to this upcoming November 26, 2021 is going to be one of the most important years for me on this earth because it's going to be kind of a year of completion where I've like completed the lessons. Like now I'm here to affect thousands and thousands of people, coming to classes and retreats and like teaching on a massive scale. Like she's like, you're going to be on stages, you're going to be speaking. And I
Oh my
feel
God.
like,
Yes.
yes,
I totally see
literally
that.
this morning I found out that I am going to be giving a TEDx talk. Like,
Stop!
yes,
Oh my God,
yes,
Sam, that's
yes,
huge.
yes,
Congrats.
yes. No more details on that yet, but like
Okay.
that is like
But still
what
cool.
is, yeah, that's like what's happening. I'm like, of course, like of course that's why I have this much energy. Like of course, like of course. And she was like, the coolest thing she told me was, she's like, it's actually not about the words that you say because you're not like, you have a really refined intellect, but it's like you're not teaching from like an educational standpoint, although you have a lot of the psychology and trauma and all that work. It's, you are a activator and an igniter. Like you literally ignite other people's flames. And so they come to you and they just need a little jab of the flame, like a little quick hit, or they need to be with you for a long time. And she told me that I've already touched 15, at least over 15,000 souls in a really intimate way. And that the next 2 year or the next year and the next decade is just going to be like pretty insane for me.
Yeah.
So she told me that I needed to relaunch, rebrand, and put a lot more money, energy, and time into my podcast, into YouTube, which was like very specific.
That's
And I've been
that's
feeling
really specific.
yeah, I've been feeling that
Wow.
for a while, but I think I've been scared to go on video because of all of the like, I need to look perfect, like my skin, my hair, my body, blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Same.
fucking don't care anymore. And she told me, yeah,
Yes.
she told me that I am still going through one wound, which like Kurt and I are actually working through right now, which is abandonment. And when she said that to me, I was like, motherfucker, like I didn't think you'd bring this up. And she's like, do you think that you're ready to be healed from this? And I was like, no, not really. Like, because what it's actually teaching me, this abandonment thing between Kurt and I, which on like a granular level, it's basically he loves playing video games a lot. And so when he wants to play and I want to hang out with him and he's like, no, I want to go play games, it makes me feel like I'm not a priority or like he doesn't love me enough to like want to spend time with me. He wants to go play video games, which is not the truth, but that's what I'm making it mean. And I was like, no, I think actually this is giving me an opportunity to give myself the love that I want from him, give it to myself.
Yeah.
And like, it's helping me meet my own emotional needs. So she's like, this is going to be a really powerful time for you in your relationship with Kurt, and also your business. So you want to make sure that everyone on your team, in your business, in your circle is like, they need to be so fucking aligned because you're building a foundation for something really, really big. And I've been feeling that. Like I've been collecting people. My team has grown from 3 to now 9. I have a
I
team of 9
know.
humans. And I'm like,
9.
I don't even have enough. Like I have a bigger team than I almost do of a bigger like client roster. And I'm like, or one-on-one roster. And I'm like, you know what? Like I'm making space and building the foundation so when the people fucking flock in, which I know they are, I have this set up. Like, and she just gave me this, like, she empowered me. Like, she just was like, yeah, dude, go. Like, this is why you're here. Like, your eating disorder was keeping you small. Your body stuff was keeping you small because you didn't have the belief. Now you have the belief in yourself. Go use it. Go change the fucking world. Like you're going to help so many people. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, it just really reaffirmed like the healer in me, not the like,
Yeah.
here, just lose weight. Like, I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about the fucking weight loss. Like, yes, I will help you lose excess weight, but it's about what that excess weight means. It means something. It means you don't feel safe in your body. It means you're carrying a past emotional weight, trauma. Like, oh my God. And, or like, you don't know how to self-soothe. You don't know how to comfort yourself without food. And it was just like this, like, oh fuck, like she was so right. And it, since that call, which was, when was it, in early January, so a little bit over a month ago, I feel like I had this next level of responsibility. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to speak on stage. So I told my coach, I was like, hey, I want to do a TEDx talk. She's like, oh yeah, I can hook you up. I'm like, wait, what? Like, it was that easy. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to speak at colleges about how toxic architecture culture is and how to empower the students to have self-care and self-love. Like, yeah, of course I'm doing that. Like, it's just this crazy feeling of like, yes, I'm taking my gifts and I'm just sharing them. And like, that's it. Like, money is going to come and that's great, but that's not the point. Like,
Yeah,
the point is so
yeah.
that when I get to my deathbed, wherever and whenever that is, I feel like I completed my soul's like mission here, you know? And
Yeah.
like, he helped affirm that so much. And I'm like, I've just been so gung ho about it lately. Cause I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing here. And that clarity, I'm sure you can relate. That
Yeah.
clarity is like fucking the best slice of chocolate cake you've ever had. You're just like,
It is.
it up, rub it
It is. I love you. Oh my God.
I'm like sweating out of my armpit right now. Can we just talk about that?
Because you are activated, because like you are feeling it. No, and everything that you said, and I'm actually like going to, I think I'll record like I'll do a solo cast on my journey, and I'll go into the details of my thing because I know people want to know, but I don't want to, we've already been talking for like a little bit. So, but
yeah.
I want to say that my experience was very similar. The details may have been just slightly different, but the same thing, like the idea that like I felt so fucking empowered by the time that was over to own what I already knew deep inside myself was there. Like I felt so empowered to own my power. I felt so empowered to own my identity, to own my spirituality. You know, it's like as a kid, it was so funny. I was so spiritual as a child, which is very bizarre because we
Really?
didn't go to church. We didn't have any religion. We didn't do it. I don't know how I found it. I didn't have anybody tell me about it. I would speak to spirits on a regular basis. And
No
it would
way.
it freaked the fucking shit out of my mom because she would go into my room and you guys are going to laugh so hard. I was the little girl with the long hair down to her waist, like the ring girl, on the floor with a piece of paper with two hands over a pencil, just kind of holding it like stacked on top, like gripped, like, you know, gripped a pencil,
Yeah.
like not like I'm writing, but like they're like fists and I'm holding them like that. Like, I don't know how to
Stacked,
describe it without
yeah.
the video. Stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm holding the pencil above the paper, closing my eyes, going, okay, if there are any spirits here, draw a circle. And then like my hand would start to move and the circle would start to move and I wasn't moving my hand. And I would just sit there and I just always assumed they were friendly. Like I never once assumed that they were bad, but I was an only child. I had a lot of time to play alone. So I would like ask questions like, oh, like, how are you doing? If you're doing well, draw a square. If you're not doing well, draw a triangle. And then like I would talk like that to spirits. I never talked about it out loud. So you guys, you're probably
Oh my God, my mouth is
what?
like-
Yeah. So my
This
mom
is
would
so
like walk
cool.
in and she'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm
What
like,
are you
oh, I'm
doing?
just talking to spirits. And she'd be like, Gabby, stop that fucking shit. They're going to call CPS. They're going to take you away from me. Like she thought like they were going to call like Child Protective Services. They were going to think something weird was going on. That I don't know. But she freaked out. She was like, even though later on she told me that all of the women and her side of the family I come from, which thanks mom for telling me this like way after my spiritual like awakening, that I come from like a long line of santeras, of really powerful
What is that?
witches and shamans from like Cuba and our indigenous ancestors. And even as recent as one of my aunts is like a very, very, very powerful, important, big medium in Cuban culture over in Miami. And she like sees some of the most like powerful Cuban leaders
No
and
way.
people. And like, yeah, they all go to her to like read the water and talk about what's happening. And she like, you know, does a lot of the stuff Bryn does. She channels.
Yeah.
So anyway, it makes sense. As a kid, I just like had found that. And so I closed off myself to all of that. And then when I met with Bryn and we had our session, She was like, they've been waiting for you, like, to come back. They've been here this whole, they're like, they've been with you, they've been trying to talk to you. And I remember going through the deep phases of when I was really depressed and I was drinking a lot of alcohol and like just treating myself so badly, binge eating horrible foods. Like, I remember having like many, many times thoughts and feelings that didn't belong to me that were like, what are you doing? And I felt like I'm pushing this to the max to see how much they're willing to protect me, how much they're willing to show up for me, how much I can push it so that to see if really I am protected the way I think I am protected. And a lot of my acting out was not just pushing away the people closest to me because I was in pain, but it was also literally had these thoughts where I was pushing away my guides and pushing away the people protecting me and the entities or whatever was happening that I always my entire life felt surrounded by. And I was like, fuck you guys, I'm going to prove that you're not real and you don't exist, because how could you exist and I would be so depressed? How could you exist and I could be raped? How could you exist and I could be in a car accident? How could you exist and my father could be dealing with so much mental illness and my mom dealing with so much stress and anxiety? Like, how could you possibly have, I mean, I felt myself very protected my whole life, even though bad things had happened to me. There were worse things that I narrowly avoided. So I always kind of knew, but I then at that point in my 20s, I had lost so much connection and faith with that I was like, I'm going to prove to myself by like getting myself into even more of a situation that they don't exist. And it was funny, like when I talked to her, like her response was like, they've been here the whole time. And they're just like, you're an idiot. Like, why did you waste so much time? Because they've been trying and trying and trying and trying their best to like keep protecting you. But at a certain point, there were lessons that I had to learn to fall on my face, to really come back home to myself and be like, okay, it's time to like cut the shit. Like, this is not, stop wasting time. Like, we got bigger things to deal with and do. And I think also the reckoning of always feeling as a kid that I was meant for really huge things. Big things. I didn't know what that meant. When I was young, I did a lot of musical theater. So like my parents and everybody who would see me perform classical piano or musical theater would be like, oh, she's going to be so big one day. We're going to say we knew her when. That, like, people would say that. And so I always had this big energy and this big, like, I know I'm meant for big things. But again, when I hit my mid-20s and I didn't know who I was and I was so lost and so depressed, I just felt worthless. It wasn't aligned with what I knew to be true about myself. And I was like, why is my human experience like not aligned with what feels so right in my soul? And so like, I really struggled with this reckoning of literally recognizing this part of what I needed in my life for a long time. And so like trying to be like, you know, secular or whatever it might be, you know, not believing in it, but really like just not allowing myself to have permission to believe in it. So like, it was interesting diving in with her as like my first kind of real serious person in the spiritual realm, where I was doing something like this that felt so like, and I had the resistance of like, this is crazy. This is like going to be like, you know, nothing, and you're not going to get anything from this. Like part of me was like, you know, like, take it or leave it. She's going to say some things that resonate. She's probably going to say some things that don't. I was not prepared to, like you said, to be so fucking seen. And in a way that there's no possible way she would have been able to do that had she not had access to something greater and connection to something bigger. And so very grateful to have linked up with her. And everything she said brought me back home to that spiritual self, that connected self. I literally every morning, I have incense blends that are specifically for my guides, my ancestors, my angels, everybody around me. And I burn it and I say thank you. I literally will walk around my office to my altar and I'll be like, I'll thank them for all the things that are happening. I'll talk to them like they're in the room, and then offer them something through burning and on my altar. And it's like changed the game. Like, it's January, and we've already made almost $200,000 in sales.
Oh, bitches.
And all like aligned sales and aligned, like just helping. And these people who I'm helping are going out there and they're healing and helping other people. And I'm seeing people down the road who are coming back to me who were in like the first round of Ignite, or they did my mental health coaching and they're like, I just wanted to let you know so much has changed and is still changing for me. Like a girl who was in our first round who literally was like in a 9-to-5, trauma survivor, doing all these amazing things on the side. And she just like told me, hey, I just had a $20,000 launch. And she had never had a business, never made her own money, never anything. And she's helping trauma survivors reclaim their power. Like, how powerful is that, you guys? Like, this world of people really wanting to do good things exists. The
Yeah.
world of being a good person and doing good things and getting abundance and receiving abundance, not just financially, but abundance of relationships and joy and experiences and all of it's possible. We exist. We have to find each other, but we exist. And you can be that person too. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to be anyone who you don't even need to feel special. You are special regardless, you know? But just encouraging you all to like go and explore all of that, the different things that life has to offer, the different possibilities, and just give yourself permission to play around and see what, if it fits for you. Because if it does, if it's something that, and it could be something that ends up changing your entire life. And that's priceless.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the store and you try stuff on, like you try on clothes. It's like not everything fits, but you got to try stuff on, right? Like I tried on architecture. It fit until it didn't, and then I was like, this is completely stifling and I feel suffocated. So I consigned it, right? I got rid of it. I
I
left.
love that. Consigned it, give it away,
Yeah,
give it to someone who it
bye.
serves better, you know?
Yes. And it's like your soul, like I firmly believe, like you got, like I'm so grateful I had that experience and I, spent thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on my education that I'm not even using directly, but I am using it. Like all of those skills, I'm using it now. And it's like my journey keeps evolving. Like I was in fitness, then I was in weight loss. Now it's more like self-love and healing. And it's like things are going to keep evolving and for you too. So trust that. And like, I mean, geez, our session was what, like 300 and something bucks, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I lose $300. Great. I can find $300. Like I can make $300. Like it's like, if it helps me get closer to who I am, like give me some of that shit. Thanks.
Yeah, and I can also think of $300 I spent at Target that didn't help me get any closer to who
Exactly.
I
Yeah. You're like, wow, that thing I still haven't taken the tag off. Okay, cool.
am. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like all the candles and incense in the world is not going to help you like really grow. It's going to support you in your journey, but it's not going to be what actually gets you there. And yeah, I love this. Thank you for having this conversation with me. And I was a little nervous to like dive into it. And it's so fun, I think, and even more valuable to bounce back and forth because like these are all very personal experiences. This is what Sam and I have gotten from our experiences. And, I, again, would love for you guys to go on your own journeys and see what happens and be open because you never know what you might find. And it could be something that really does, like I said, change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Gab. I mean, I think this has been even helpful for me to process it. Like, I haven't really had this conversation other than in my head, or like writing in the notes section of my phone. But like you said, I think this is way more valuable talking about it in this way than just being like, hey, I'm going to do a solo podcast because we're able
Yeah.
to kind of like use each other's energy. So, thank you for inviting me on too and just for being such a great example of what a conscious leader's like and what a great example of a really fucking good friend is like it's
Oh.
I know we talk about it all the time and it can like sound cheesy to you guys but I don't care. It's like when you have a woman in your life who like supports you, like makes you feel safe, like you can share anything with, like you're not judged by, like there's just so much unconditional love back and forth. It's literally so fulfilling. And I don't have many, and I don't think you don't think we have the capacity to have many relationships like this, but I can say from experience that like quality over quantity. Like I used to be the girl who wanted all the friends and I had them and it felt really empty. And now it's like, no, I want to have a solid crew of people that I really trust and love. And like that takes time, you guys, but it's the fucking best thing in the world when you have those people that are helping you in your journey, doing similar things. And like, don't forget, like Gabby and I met literally a year ago. But I feel
Yeah.
like I've known this bitch for like fucking decades.
Forever. I feel like we have a soul contract. We have a
Yep.
soul contract. We
Yep.
had to find each other.
Yep.
No, and I love you so much. And I do feel the same exact way about you. And like, I think as well, when we go on our healing journeys, the people who no longer serve where we're going kind of leave, and it opens up space, and it really calls in the people you want to be surrounded by who are in this next space. And so I've found so much healing just being in friendship with you. And as cheesy as it sounds, guys, it's fucking awesome. And like it's cool, and like it'll make you feel great. It'll help you get grounded. It'll help you do all the wonderful things to have wonderful people around you. So yeah, that's a good thing to note. Well, thank you for being here. You guys will be seeing a lot more of Sam. She's guest coaches for Ignite, and I know you have you have something coming up, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but I forgot we were going to talk about it. Yes, you guys, if you are struggling with food and body, or you've been struggling with your weight since you can remember, or food or whatever, you're thinking about food all the time and you want to get out of that cycle, my course, Taste Like Freedom, is going to be launching right in time for Valentine's Day, to give yourself some self-love this year. And I'm going to teach you the energetics of weight loss, how to lose emotional weight, how to stop using food as a drug to numb or avoid, how to sit with your feelings, like, and just the basics of fundamental nutrition so that you feel good and you don't have cravings and you're not binging or late night snacking, like building some structure into your life. So the women that have done the past course, like in the first week, they're like, I literally lost 10 pounds, like not from losing actual physical weight, like they literally lost emotional weight. So this is very possible for you, and it's super affordable, $333.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, I want to make
That's
this the most
awesome.
successful thing ever. So please come. I would love to invite you into this container. It's like healing, weight loss, a group of women that are just so fucking badass. So you can put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anybody who works with Sam, if you have in the past, she's just like fucking amazing. And like, I couldn't recommend you higher, not just because you're my friend, but because I really deeply respect the way you treat your clients. And we've talked lots about this, but there are lots of coaches out there who do not really care. And Sam is not one of those people. Sam will love you till the day you die, and all of your relatives and everybody you love, she loves, and she supports you in a way that I think really, that's why you see the transformation, because you have someone so behind you. So I encourage you guys, jump in there, and we'll put the info in the show notes. And until next time, girl, I'm excited to see you, and we will talk again soon.
I love it. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have the most amazing weekend. I will see you on the gram. Bye.
And that's our episode for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us at the Conscious Leadership Podcast. I'm so excited. This next year, 2021, is going to be huge. We have so many guests that are coming on that you are going to love. I'm going to be doing some more solo casts and Om Therapy coaching. We have so many things rolling out for you. Retreats, another round of Ignite starting in May, another one starting at the end of the summer, a mastermind, and so many other things. So be sure to stay tuned with us on Instagram. Follow me at om_therapy_coaching, and stay tuned for so much goodness coming up. As always, I would love to hear your feedback. Head over to iTunes and leave us a review, and I would love to give you a free copy of my subconscious reprogramming workbook, and that is absolutely free. Just send me a screenshot of your review and on Instagram, and I will be so happy to send that over as my gift for you. And I am sending you so many hugs, so much love, and I hope that this week you are able to find just a little bit more joy in your life. Have a good one, guys.